That's right. Joe becomes England's highest ever Test run scorer, surpassing Sir Alistair Cook. Now, author, comedian, actor, presenter Stephen Fry has written another book called Odyssey, the final chapter to his retellings of Greek myths. I'm delighted to say the man of many talents, on the ball City, Norwich City man as well, joins us now. Welcome, Stephen.
Never
Morning,
mind
Stephen.
the danger. It goes on. Yes, wonderful to be here, Alan and Gabby. Lovely to see you both. I'm getting a full Brazilian this morning, what I've always wanted.
Do you know what? You like your cricket, don't you?
I love cricket. I've been thrilled by watching Joe. You know, we always used to say, as growing up watching England flounder most of the time against Australia, that we needed to acquire some of that steel that Australians have. You know, when the enemy is down, you put your foot on their throat, and the English don't like to do that. It's sort of ill-mannered, and we have to learn how to do it. And yet Joe Root is about the nicest man you could ever meet. Yeah. But he has that ability that the Australians have to be a perfectly nice man completely, as Stuart Broad is, but a demon on the field.
Yes.
They've got that competitive steel in them, and he has it, and his parents are so lovely.
Sir Alistair Cook as well. He's a farmer now, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
What a lovely man. Essex, lovely man.
He was a choir boy at St Paul's Cathedral, singing. It's very noticeable, though, that, of course, everyone you speak to who has been in the team with Joe will just tell you about his commitment, his extraordinary work ethic, and that's no coincidence. The same with Ben Stokes, isn't it? You don't ever get that good without work.
Do you think he's our greatest batsman?
I think you can't deny the statistics. I mean, people will talk about the flair of Wally Hammond, or people wear and of course boycotts, stonewalling stubbornness, and there are people we're far too young to remember. Even we are, but. To have lived in the age of Root, that's the thing a cricket lover will always be able to tell their grandchildren and, say, I saw him play and you should have heard the crowd going, woo, like that.
But these guys at the highest level, Stephen, Johnny Sexton sat there just an hour ago, and Johnny, I just read a few pages of his book, and he was when he started, for Leinster and then into Ireland, some people were a bit upset because his will to win was way above anyone else's, and he got a little bit nasty with it. But as he said, no, I just wanted it for the better of the team, not me.
That's it. You have to accept that will sometimes make people difficult to relate to, especially in the passages of play where blood gets hot, and you get that in your game. I mean, you see it in football all the time. You see people, you think, wow, blimey, whether they're a chopper or they're a really kind of fast, aggressive forward. There's nastiness.
A Duncan Forbes.
Yes, a Duncan Forbes, exactly. You need nastiness in there. It's got to be part of the package. It's why we love sport, is because all human emotion, all human characteristics, all human qualities are reflected. And it's why, he said, just cleverly bringing it back to his subject, it's why I love the Greek myths, because that's what the characters are. And I was thinking, as I was hearing you talk about Joe Root while I was waiting to come in, that the patron saint of sports, at least not a Christian saint, but a pagan saint, is Achilles. You all know about Achilles because you probably both injured your Achilles tendon.
I'll snap mine a few
I'm sure. Yeah. Well, he was his mother heard that he was going to die young if he had a good life. But if he had a boring, ordinary life, he would have. She thought, well, in case he's kind of wants an exciting life, because she was immortal, she took him down to the underworld and she dipped him into the river Styx, in the waters of the Styx, or the Lethe. There are two versions. But she held him by the ankle with her thumb and finger, just dropped him in, and so that bit wasn't covered by the water, and that bit was vulnerable. That was his Achilles heel, but. She was
I thought you were talking about Brad Pitt with the arrow through his Achilles.
He did, exactly, and that's why
Troy?
He died in Troy. Exactly.
Where was Troy? Are we talking Iran?
No, Turkey.
Turkey, of course, it was across the Aegean.
Yeah, but this prophecy that if he chose, he could have a life of complete glory. Utter glory such as no hero had ever had. had golden Achilles, the most fantastic, but he would die young. Or he could have an ordinary life. No one would have heard of him, and he would live for longer. And he chose the first. Now, isn't that what every sports person has? Isn't that every sports person?
Yeah.
That basically they know, unless they're going to be a great broadcaster, of course, like Gabby and Alan, they know that their life is short, that your glory will be taken away from you.
So, Stephen, this is true, right? When they said you were coming on as a guest, I don't know why, but I thought Homer, Iliad, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to take it on holiday. Now, am I right in saying Homer wrote Odyssey as well?
Well,
Iliad, or was that the poem?
Strangely, wrote isn't the right word, because he preceded writing, really, or at least the kind of writing that we think of as writing. And the way that these were done was, if there was a poet, Homer, he did it as a bard. He recited the whole thing, and the way it's written is, with its rhythm and its use of language, is kind of designed for the bard to remember it. So for hundreds and hundreds of years, it was spoken from it was word of mouth. This epics were told. The Iliad, which is 9 weeks of the war in Troy, and then the Odyssey, the journey home of Odysseus to his wife and child, and then they were written down in a sort of 5th century BC kind of time, and they've stayed with us ever since. And they are the first inklings of Western literature, you might say, but they're also very modern, and they're about something we all know. In the case of the Odyssey, home. Home is, and it's rather pleasing that in English Homer means that, because they have this word nostos, which is the return. They were amongst the first civilization to venture out on boats as fisher people, as traders, because the world had settled a bit. The sea levels had settled, and villages could be built by the sea without flooding. The villages became harbours, became port cities, and the world changed. And then writing was beginning to be invented, and everything changed. And it meant people travelled away from home. And home took on enormous importance. And the Greek word for it is nostos. And many, over 1,000 years later, a Swiss doctor noticed some mercenary soldiers were getting ill because they missed home. So he coined a word, nostos, pain. Algia is pain in Greek, so nostalgia. Nostalgia comes from that yearning for home that we all have. I always think, like, there are whole generations, aren't there, who, if they were to sit at a table and pour a bowl of cereal or help themselves to some beans on toast while The Simpsons is playing and their satchel is on the desk, they've come home from school. Well, and that's that nostalgic feeling. Yes. You know what I mean? That we all have.
Stephen, talking about that, so I've got 2 lovely books here. I've got Odyssey by yourself, Johnny, and I've got an urge to go to my family. We've got a couple of lovely houses in Paros.
Oh, how marvellous.
And Paros, the view there is unbelievable. It's between Santorini and Mykonos.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Beautiful.
Isn't it stunning? And they've never seen a bluer sea and a bluer sky.
Beautiful.
It's stunning.
The water's so clear. And I've got to get back there. I've not been for 2-3 years now.
There you are. You're feeling what Odysseus felt, this urge to return to his island.
Can I quickly ask you though, Stephen, about your old club?
Norwich.
A very good club. Your club, Norwich. I like Norwich. Big club, Alan, aren't they? Unlike Ipswich. But your club's big on mental health.
Mental health, we are.
They did win a Milk Cup, and I think we
did.
Cup and a Youth Cup, I think.
Can you give us some more info on what your club, Norwich, are doing for mental health?
Well, if you go on the usual sources, YouTube and so forth, you will see that amazing film with 2 guys sitting watching a match. Did you see it?
No.
And one of them is very silent, the other one talks a lot. And the one who's silent looks a little bit kind of worried, and the one who's talking a lot is just going on about things. And this is a film about mental health, and you think, oh, the silent one is suffering, and then it changes, and you see that the silent one is sitting on his own, and it was the other guy who had the trouble. And he didn't talk about it, and it's about talking about things. It's, a lot of people who love sport, who love football, it's easy to think you shouldn't talk about yourself and your emotions. You just biff them all into the love of your club and shouting and drinking and being mates and all the rest of it. But in sport, amongst sports people, as well as amongst sports fans, there is this, very strong chance 1 in 4 of us in some way or another will be afflicted by mental health problems that can affect us in all kinds of ways. They can affect those around you. You may not even recognize what it is that's happening, and your moods change, and the only way you can change your mood sometimes is from something outside you, alcohol or drugs. And then that themselves, they lead to problems, and you start falling out with your family, and you start sliding down out of your job, all kinds of things, all because you didn't talk, all because you didn't share this pain. And there is an irony about...
Some people don't have anyone to share it with.
Yes.
Well, that's right. And the strange thing about being human is it's often with a stranger, it's easier to share than with a friend.
Yes.
And I say this to people, I say, if you developed a weird genital wart, you wouldn't show it to your mother or your best friend, but you wouldn't mind showing it to a doctor.
Exactly.
And it's the same in your head. We may say, oh, friends are so great because you can share everything with a friend, but actually, sometimes you need a stranger. It needs to be a doctor, a therapist, a priest. I mean, I'm not religious, but it could be a priest. It could be anybody whom you trust who's a stranger, and just say, I don't know why, but I'm screaming inside.
No.
Spot on.
Stephen, I'm out of time. Norwich coming up?
Yeah, yes, they are. Well, there's a strong chance. I do think we're going in absolutely the right direction. We've got some amazing players in Science and Sargent and some new ones coming through, and the midfield is looking better, and the connections are looking better, and it's looking like a real team again.
Can I just say as well?
A fine city.
Yes,
Can I just say as well, Stephen, Simon Jordan speaks very well, but you speak a lot better than Simon. So I'd like to give you that, okay?
Well, thank you, Gabby.
Anytime.
I'll take that as a great
Well, this man is proper educated.
I see.
Unlike pretend Jordan.
I've been expelled from more schools than you have.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.